Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and today we're looking at the Batman Unlimited DC Universe Classics style Deathstroke figure from Arkham Origins. This is another one of those figures that I thought was DC Direct, but then turned out it wasn't, so I'm happy I bought it. But I'm not that happy because there are some major problems. He looks great at first glance. He's deceivingly nice looking. The sculpt work is pretty darn good from the waist up. He does have some flaws though, so let's get into it. He stands about 6 3/4 inches tall, so that's just about right. Comes with a decent batch of accessories, kind of. Comes with the staff, and it does have some paint work and some decent sculpt work, so that's nice. He comes with a pistol, which is bent in the packaging, and it has China written real big on it, and it's a really stupid looking grip. But it also has this. And it's put in the package as an accessory, but this is clearly the kind of thing that they put on a piece that's going to be glued in. So I don't really get that. You would never have him hold it with that big chunk of plastic on there, so you're probably just going to glue it in, or at least just wedge it in to his hip where it goes. So that's really odd that they included that. I don't understand that at all. He also comes with this rifle, which I'm pretty sure is the same rifle that the Vigilante figure from DC Universe Classics came with. Maybe it was the same one he had too. I don't know. And it's just kind of cheap looking. It looks like a little kid's toy compared to the rest of the figure, so I don't really get the inclusion of that. And then he comes with his sword, which goes into the sheath on his back, which looks really cool at first glance. So here's the sword. It looks really crappy. It has like no width to the blade at all, so it just kind of looks like a toothpick. It looks really, really bad, I think. But they did do the orange painting on the handle, which is kind of nice. But here's the problem with the sword in the sheath. It looks good when you put it in from the back. Taken out of context, that sounds kind of odd. But the sheath is open, so the sword is just dangling there. And you can see it from the front. Maybe not with the shadows in the video, but you can. So that's pretty lazy, pretty crappy. I don't like that at all. The sculpt, like I said, is really good. The torso looks great. There's no ab crunch or anything, but it still looks good. Lots of nice details throughout this guy, except for the legs. Unlike Batman, who had really big legs, his legs are too small for his body. The knee area and the thighs are way too narrow. Shins and feet are okay, but the legs are disproportionate to the body. They need to be longer and they need to be thicker. From the waist up, he looks really good, but the legs just are kind of falling flat. And then he could use a little bit more paint work. You know, it looks like he has a lot, and he kind of does, but there are some details that definitely need to be painted on the buckles and things like that. Otherwise, he's a pretty decent looking figure, though, paint-wise. The eye, not as good as it could have been, but it's okay. It looks better in video than it does in person, but it's not bad. Still pretty cool. And this line is fairly straight, so that's good. As far as articulation goes, the head does look up and down, side to side. Doesn't really rock side to side too much, just the swivel. He does have this. Looks like it should be darker, not darker, brighter orange, but maybe that's accurate. We'll see next week when the game comes out. It's kind of stiff though, but it's alright. It'd be nice if it swiveled, but it doesn't. Okay, shoulders have ball hinges. Pretty limited due to that armor, but probably good enough. I'm not really going to complain too much. There's no bicep swivel, but it is built into the elbow, so it's not horrible, except for the fact that you can't bend the elbow more than like 45 degrees, so that really limits the posability. It looks good, the sculpting is good, but really limited articulation. Then the wrists just have a swivel. So again, kind of limited. The waist, again, just a swivel, no leaning side to side or anything, which I would be okay with if the legs looked better, but the legs don't look that great, so that's two things in this region that I don't care for. From the waist up, he's good, including the waist, and going down, it's not that good. The hips, kind of awkward looking, not as good as Batman for sure. Limited articulation for sure. Can barely put him in a walking pose, and they don't go out to the side too far. And then he has like this diaper thing going on, so that just doesn't look that great. So that's another problem with the legs. The knees are like the Injustice figures, where it's just a ball hinge, so you have very limited posability there, and it rotates around at the shin, so that's useless. Nobody's leg does that. Why did they include that? I have no idea. Now the ankles have a regular pivot, just like Batman. It's very limited, but they also have a swivel, which again, Nobody can do that with their foot. It's their whole leg that turns. So that's really useless. It definitely would have been better to have an ankle rocker. And he's really hard to stand up. He doesn't have the cape like Batman, but he's back heavy. So you have to lean him forward a bit to get him to balance. So it's not horrible, not like Batman, but it's definitely not that good. So this is another figure where he looks really good if you get him in a decent pose and just stand him there, or only look from the waist up like right there. It looks phenomenal. But anytime you look at the whole figure, it looks less phenomenal, and you definitely need to put him in a little bit of a better pose. As far as holding the accessories, he can't hold the sword. He can hold the staff, which is okay, so obviously that's a bonus that he can. There's no place to put it on his back though, but he can hold it, and he can hold the rifle, so that's pretty good. I didn't even check to see if he could hold the pistol because it has that big hunk of plastic on it, so I would definitely recommend you just stick with these two accessories. And once you get him posed, he's okay, but definitely a lot of flaws on this figure, which is disappointing because when I first looked at it in the package, I was pretty excited, and now I'm just a little bit less excited. Alright, so there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.